lovelies, and welcome to the Empower channel. My name is Moabbie. Thank you to our subscribers for being a part of this community and keeping us going and helping us to grow. If you're visiting the channel for the first time, welcome and consider subscribing so that we can grow to hundreds and thousands and eventually to millions. We will get there. But it's by faith we will get there, and by God's design and glory we will get there. And so guys, remember the big four, always the big four: subscribe, like, share, and comment on our videos. Thank you guys. What do I want to talk about today? What do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about broken promises. Wow, a promise. Someone said a promise is a debt, right? Like if you promise me something, I will expect you to fulfill it at one point or the other. But unfortunately, not everyone who promises comes through, to do whatever they promised. And it happens a lot every day, with our friends, with our family members, in the corporate world, in the business world, everywhere. These things do happen. Even in the religious circles, these things do happen. So for me today, I just want to talk a little bit about my situation, about a broken heart, shattered dreams, and all this. So those who have watched my previous videos, know that I lost my dad when I was 9. So guys, between the age of 9 and 22, when I was finishing, everything school at age 22, I stayed in 12 homes, 12 households. That's a lot of households. Yeah. And one thing that I've had to do in my life is do a lot of detoxing, because each household came with something. You are in this house, you get cultured in this manner. Then when your tenure for staying there finishes, you move to another place, and it's a whole new culture. At one point, I think as a teenager, I was confused because I didn't know what is what. You were from this household, you're told this is what you do, and you don't do this, and this is how we do things here. But then you go to another one, you're told now this way, this way. So it was a mixed up of things. And as an adult, as a young adult, and even as an adult in my late 20s, I was still dealing with things, just detoxing those relationships, detoxing the things that I collected along the way that were not healthy. Not everything was healthy. That's a bit of a digression, but coming back to my point of broken promises, I happened to live with an uncle. When my dad passed away, there's this uncle who came around, who was like, oh, my brother talked to me, he wants me to stay with this particular child. And what happened after my dad died, every child was taken care of by someone. So it's like you are 7 of you, but everybody ends up with somebody different. And actually I've had to bond with my siblings as a grown up, because when we were kids, we never used to meet. You were living with Uncle X, the other one is living with Auntie Y, the other one's living, I don't know, with the cousin of who, so we, at times we would meet during holidays, at times not. So everybody was just there. So right now we are glad that we can sit as a family and be able to just create our own culture and be able to enjoy what we believe in, and just thanking God that He has saved everyone. And so we are enjoying being a religious people who love the Lord with all the hearts, born again. Not just religious is relative. I say we are born again and we love Christ, and that fellowship is really beautiful. So this uncle, back to the uncle. This uncle is like, oh, my brother, when he was passing away, he told me that I'll take care of Abby. So those who don't know, sometimes I'm called Abby, sometimes I'm called Mo, and then I'm called Moabbie, then I'm called Abigail, I'm called Maureen, I'm called Atelo, I'm called Olunya. I've got so many names. Like I've got 5 names in my passport. That's also a digression. And then back to my point. This uncle takes me. He starts taking good care of me. I went to a good school, a very good school in Gilgil. And I was well taken care of as I was in his household. Of course, things were not perfect. My uncle was married, and he embraced me as his brother's child. But the wife had a different view. She didn't like me. There are times she would openly ask my uncle, "Did you really have to bring her here? We could have just supported her from somewhere else." In other words, the things she would do just showed me that I was not welcome in this home, that I was just there. When my uncle traveled, it used to be a nightmare. And that's a story for another day. So this uncle, as he gets me into school, he promises me that he's going to take me through primary school, high school, and uni, you know, the whole thing, that now you're part of this family, you're like my firstborn, because he had very small children. And so I was like, oh God, thank you, you know, because first of all, when my dad passed on, we had to go to shads. I just didn't fit in, guys. I was the girl with an accent in the village. For those few times that I was there, it was terrible for me. I was always targeted and attacked. Like, I couldn't even go to the shop. They'll be like, oh, the thing with the accent is coming, you know, in mother tongue, you know. So it was terrible for me, and I was just glad that now I was being taken out of that very quickly before it became ugly. Yes. And so I did very well for those years in primary school. When it came to end of primary school, I did my KCP. After KCP, I had high scores. I got very good invitations to go to national schools. I got 2 placements for national schools. It was such a joy for me. I was rejoicing because, by the way, guys, I was and I still am. You know, now I have so many responsibilities. In fact, when I go to school as part-time as an adult, it's different the way it was, because when you're growing up, you're just focusing on school and maybe helping with chores. You're not stuffed with a lot of things. You can focus easily. And so I was that girl who is focused. I come from school, I don't even think about eating. Yeah, like, I want to do my homework, I want to do things to do with school and finish, then I go take a shower, then I now ask for food or if there's anything. And so that was my life. And my scores showed, they were high. They showed how I had put in an effort and just, you know, gave it my all. And anyways, just growing up, from how I was working and the things I was doing, I knew I was going to have good scores. Guys, when you're doing well consistently, you're not going to wake up and fail unless something is really wrong, unless you get sick or something is really seriously wrong. You can always tell someone who's going to pass an exam and someone who won't. Okay, so that's me. Fast forward, my uncle tells me that he's not going to take me to school, that he has changed his mind, so he's not going to take me to high school. Then he tells me, okay, I'm going to send you back to your mother. And you know, my mom wasn't working at the time. When she as a young person, she was hardworking. She had her own things that she was doing. But when she married my dad was those kind of people that say, I am hardworking and I don't want, you know, my spouse to slave away, you know, working for somebody. So by the time my dad was passing away, my mom had stayed for a long time without working anywhere. And you know how that is. It really makes you, you know, kind of fall back. And if you are really given something to do in the moment, even something you trained for and you haven't practiced for 10 years, for instance, you might not be able to function well. So my mom wasn't working, but she was doing small businesses. And to be honest, guys, my mom would not have afforded my school fees. So my dreams were shattered. My heart was shattered. I felt cheated. I felt that, and it's not that my uncle had any added obligations. No, he didn't have anything like that. I think he just decided not to help me. I don't know what came over him. I don't know if it was an influence from my auntie or other relatives. I honestly wouldn't tell. just in the comments below. Just tell me if you had a similar experience and how you handled it. Was it an issue of love? Maybe your heart was so shattered, someone promised something that they didn't deliver, or you thought it was one thing, then it ended up being this other one and not just working the way you thought. Let me hear your stories. Share in the comments below. Just share in the comments below so that I get to know what you guys have been through. So did I go to school after that? Yes, I did go to school, and I just thank God for it. I think God just worked out miracle upon miracle, miracle after miracle for me, and I was able to go to school, irrespective of my uncle just shattering my little heart. It was the first experience, just someone disappointing me in a